Oh, my Lanta. Oh, my Lanta. Holy chalupas. Holy chalupas.
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paper boy, evening TV.
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paper boy, the evening TV. Everywhere you look. Everywhere you look.
Hey there, Tanner fans. Angela Bowen here, the host of Oh My Atlanta, Holy Chalupas, an unofficial Fuller House podcast. Today I am bringing to you the second episode in the Sisters double feature, part 1. Yes, part 1, because there will be a part 2, most likely next August in 2022. But that is quite a ways away. So, of course, the episode I'm going to be focusing on for part 1 of the double feature from season 5, episode 3, Take My Sister, Please! This episode aired October 1st, 1991. In this episode, this is the IMDb description, and then, of course, I read the disc description, the DVD case. Alright, so DJ lobbies for her own bedroom, but Michelle is reluctant to share a room with Stephanie, who is depressed because nobody wants her as a roommate. Okay, so there is actually more to there. It was written by Melissa, and then there's more added to it, also written by, I believe, the same Melissa. Alright, DJ makes a solid case for switching bedrooms with Michelle. You mean Stephanie? Okay. When Danny agrees, Stephanie is reluctant, then warms up to the idea of mentoring Michelle in the way DJ has done for her. However, Michelle is not as eager to share a room, and Stephanie feels rejected. Elsewhere, Jesse and Becky are at odds over the cravings and mood swings that are side effects of Becky's pregnancy. Tension comes to a head when a Lamaze class pits husband again. Okay, again, this person, Melissa, you're wrong here. I would say, yeah, more like, okay, Danny and Joey vie for the attention of Becky's Lamaze instructor. Okay, so I mean, would you really call it tension when it says a Lamaze class pits husband against wife? I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, it wasn't a bad synopsis, so. Alright, DVD case summary time. Stephanie beds down. I like the term beds down. It just sounds like you're getting comfy, you're getting ready to go to sleepy sleep, you know, getting comfy in your bed. But Stephanie beds down in the bathtub. I mean, is she Kyle XY? If for those of you who saw the ABC Family, at the time it was called ABC Family when Kyle XY, or was it called Fox? You know, that channel changes so much. You could never tell. Let's see, they're always going from ABC Family to something else to Freeform to whatever. Anyway. Yeah, I'm getting Kyle XY vibes here with the bathtub. Because that's where Kyle XY, or Kyle likes to sleep in Kyle XY. I actually would love to cover, like, the pilot episode of Kyle XY. The show is amazing. So anyway, Stephanie beds down in the bathtub when neither DJ nor Michelle is willing to share a room with her. I think that's a pretty good description. I really, really do. I think they did a good job with that one. Not hugely creative like the last one that I read with No More Mr. Dumb Guy. Sometimes they really do an amazing job. And I think it was just the wording of the description for No More Mr. Dumb Guy that really I took a liking to. But this one was pretty good. Sometimes there's some, you know, there's some winners and there's some that are just, oh my goodness, who thought of that description? Alright, this episode has a 7.2 out of 10 rating on IMDb. Oh, Jeremy's getting a haircut today since it's Saturday. Why not, right? I actually just got one on Monday, so yeah. And it's weird because I was telling the person who was cutting my hair, I'm like, it seems like the bangs always are the first to grow back for out of the rest of the hair, and it's like, I cannot stand it when my bangs go past my eyebrows. It drives me nuts. I'm doing the, trying to get the hair out of the eyes, and it's like, I'm gonna get a wry neck from doing that. But yeah, so I decided, instead of trying to make it to 8 weeks, because I can't do that, I decided to try to just do it at 6 weeks with the haircut. That's about as much as I can stand. So anyway, 7.2 out of 10, based on 212 ratings, directed by Joel Zwick, writers Jeff Franklin, the creator, Mark Warren, and Dennis Rinsler. So we do have some guest stars. We have David Lassier, who plays Rick, who is someone the DJ is crushing on. And we have Nancy Valen, who plays Lisa Green. And we have Mercedes Jane, who plays Pregnant Woman. Now, I'm curious why this lady stands out, because with Becky's Lamaze class being taught in the living room, there are a lot of pregnant women. So unless this lady's got a part where she actually says, has a line, I could see why she would be here, but I don't, in the cast, but. So getting back to David Lassier, it looks like he is kind of a one-note character. He doesn't come back. He was in Roseanne in 91. Same year he was in Full House. He was also in a show called Hey Dude. He was in an episode of Life Goes On. His name was Mitch Tanner. How funny is that? That was also in 91. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Hearts Are Wild, Step by Step. That was 92. 3 episodes as Kyle Connors from 91 to 92 in Beverly Hills 90210. But he is most notably remembered as Vinny I'm going to mispronounce this boy's name. Bonatardi. He played Blossom's boyfriend, I believe, for 48 episodes from 92 to 95. I didn't know he was in White Squall. I only watched that movie, it was in 96, because of Ryan Felipe. Or however you want to pronounce his name. You know him. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Cruel Intentions. 54. I had after seeing I Know What You Did Last Summer in 1997, I had such a crush on Ryan Felipe. And I'm calling him Felipe because that's how even though it's what, Phillippe. So David was also in Two of a Kind. He was in an episode of Touched by an Angel. Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Okay, he played Josh from 99 to 2002 in Sabrina the Teenage Witch. So I'm guessing, was he a love interest for Sabrina? I watched Sabrina here and there. And when Soleil Moonfry came on, Punky Brewster, she came on as Roxy, I started to watch more of the show. But out of all the TGIF shows, the only one I fully was dedicated to was Full House. I watched some of Boy Meets World, but I kind of dipped in and out. Step by Step, same thing. He was also on this show called Melissa and Joey, which has Melissa Joan Hart and Joey Lawrence. It's kind of like it seems like it's a Who's the Boss type of situation where I'm guessing he plays like a live-in housekeeper or something to that effect. Alright, so now we got Nancy Valen, who has been in quite a handful of things. Charles in Charge, Miami Vice, Saved by the Bell. She probably played someone that Zach dated for a hot second. Full House. So she was Lisa Green in Full House. She was never in another episode. 2 episodes of Murder, She Wrote. 2 of Walker, Texas Ranger. Boy Meets World. She played a substitute teacher that Sean tried to impress. Baywatch. 22 episodes as Samantha Thomas. Alright. CSI. Has she done anything? Middleton Christmas. Does this have anything to do with? Oh, when I think Middleton, I see Middleton. I think Kate Middleton. All right. So trivia. Title is based upon Henry Youngman's signature joke. Now take my wife, please. David Lesher later played Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen's Uncle Matt on Two of a Kind. I've never seen that show. I thought the Olsen twins were also in another show called So Little Time. We got some goofs. Joey states that neither Tom nor Jerry ever talked throughout the Tom and Jerry cartoons. While neither one of them talked in most episodes, there were a few episodes where Tom had 1 or 2 lines. Later, Tom and Jerry were more verbal in Tom and Jerry the movie. Yeah, even in Tom, because I watched Tom and Jerry Kids too on Fox on Saturday mornings. I loved Tom and Jerry Kids. Hey, there's a bus. Cool. Anyway, a bus just passed the window where I'm podcasting. Yeah, I remember, Tom and Jerry Kids. You had Tom and Jerry. I love how Tom was wearing like a red and blue hat. It was really cute. There's Spike and, the big dog, and then his little dog, his son, probably Tyke, Spike and Tyke, Droopy and Dripple. Of course, Droopy the dog with the monotone voice that sounds like Ben Stein. Oh my goodness. Such a good Fox on Saturday mornings. Fox did have some really good shows for Saturday morning. Bobby's World is another one that I absolutely loved. Eek the Cat, that was another one. I can't remember if I ever watched The Tick, but here's some more goofs. Several times in this episode, Michelle is referred to as a kindergarten baby, and she states that she is 4 3/4 old. Danny and Joey are headed to a Warriors game, and we see, based on sunshine and the character's attire, that it is nice weather outside. Additionally, Rick is doing homework with DJ, so we know it is during the school year. The only months during the school year where the Warriors will be playing and the weather will be nice out would be at the end of maybe late April, May, or very early June, before school breaks for the summer. If Michelle is 4 3/4 old at the end of this particular school year, that would mean that she had just turned 4 at the beginning of the school year, which doesn't make sense for a kindergarten. Kindergartners are typically 5 at the start of the year, or turn 5 during kindergarten, or 6 if they are held back. And I was just thinking the fact that the twins are born on Michelle's 5th birthday, and Becky in this episode does look, and the thing is, if you think about it, Becky, when she goes into labor, she's 3 weeks early. So that means more than likely maybe, and we don't know when in November exactly Michelle's birthday is, but so does that mean if the twins are 3 weeks early, maybe they would have been born in, say, December? So I don't know. I'm going to put the kind of semi-agree with it, and that's not really even a goof. That's many, many observations just formed into a paragraph. All right, we do have one review. Taylor Kingston gives us a 9 out of 10. The one where Stephanie moves into the bathroom. Warning, spoilers. This review was published on IMDb June 23rd, 2015. I love this episode. It's so funny. It's one of my all-time favorite episodes from this season and also from the entire series. In this episode, DJ desperately wants to have a bedroom all to herself. I get it. She is at this point, season 5. We're going to put her at 4. Well, she was 14 in season 4. I'm going to put her at 14 and a half, 15, because in season 6, when she comes back from Spain with Steve, so we'll put her at 14 and a half. All right. So, I lost my place. In this episode, DJ desperately wants to have a bedroom all to herself, and after explaining all the perfectly good reasons to Danny, Jesse, and Joey, they all agree that DJ will move into Michelle's room, and Michelle will move into the room with Stephanie. It actually makes a lot of sense. Michelle and Stephanie are the same age as DJ, and Stephanie the same age DJ and Stephanie were when they moved in together, but Stephanie doesn't like the idea at all, so she moves into the bathroom. How is that gonna... That would be problematic. I mean, seriously, how would that work? That is a main bathroom that the majority of the family uses. I mean, I know Danny's got a shower in his bathroom. Whether he's got a toilet in there, I don't know. Jesse and Becky, you know that they have a bathroom upstairs in their bedroom apartment. And I'm just kind of thinking because Joey had a bathroom when he had that apartment down there, but then they changed it to the studio. Would they would have just closed off the bathroom, right? Unless they just we'll keep the bathroom in case, when we're working we need to stop and use the bathroom. We have a bathroom, we don't gotta run upstairs. They would have to go up the stairs to the kitchen, up the stairs to the second level. Yeah, it just makes sense. Just keep that bathroom when you're changing stuff over. Just keep the bathroom in the basement. It makes a billion times more sense. I'm just thinking with Stephanie, I'm just in that amount of time, yeah, I really hope she cleaned that bathtub out. I'm just ew, bathrooms are not a clean area. I mean, ugh. I just think, where else could she have made a bedroom for herself in that house? And I'm just thinking, she could have bedded down somewhere in a corner in the studio, in the basement, maybe? Maybe there's a little, alcove. The alcove! The alcove in the living room, like Joey did in season 1. You just bed down, well, actually, because the living room is the prime area where, the kitchen, that's a lot of heavy foot traffic and all that stuff, so it's, I don't know. But hey, if it was good enough for Joey in season 1, I'm pretty sure the alcove would be good for Stephanie. So it says, Michelle also isn't eager to be sharing a room with her big sister. Well, would you, if your big sister teased you? Hey, you kindergarten baby. I don't want a room with a kindergarten baby. Yeah, I wouldn't want a room with Stephanie either. It does make me think about that Home Improvement episode where Brad and Randy are just not getting along. They're a year apart from each other. They've been sharing a room for forever. And Brad ends up getting his own room, and Randy has to move in with his younger brother, Mark. I can see where it feels like the other sibling that's sharing the room doesn't get a choice on who they have to room with. Great, DJ gets her own room and I get stuck with Michelle. Meanwhile, of course, side plot here, Becky is getting enormous... I thought this person was saying she's enormous because she's pregnant. Becky is getting enormous cravings thanks to her pregnancy hormones, and tensions rise when the women get into a fight with the men at a Lamaze. They get into a fight with the men. It's just basically Becky against Jesse with this whole thing, because he's all... We'll get to it when we get to the episode. I don't want to... I want to save that. So... And Danny and Joey compete for the attention of the Lamaze instructor. Best part of the episode, when Becky has hilarious cravings. Worst part of the episode, how selfish Michelle and Stephanie act. Overall, I give this episode a 9 out of 10, which in my ratings book is awesome. Okay, so as far as... We'll get to Becky's cravings. They're not weird. They really aren't. I swear, what was the... I think it was the Rock the Cradle episode when I was going... Or was it Double... One of those, I did look up different cravings for food while pregnant. Gosh. I wonder if... It's never going to happen, of course. But if I were to be, hypothetically speaking, of course, pregnant, what my cravings... Would I be craving stuff I'd never even had before, because, that would be weird, because I can't, I'm not a fan of pickles. What if that was one of my pregnancy cravings, even though I'd never had a pickle? That would, you see me eating a pickle and I don't like them. There's something going on there. There's something that's yeah. Okay, of course, before I officially get into this episode, I want to let the Tanner newbies, which are those of you that are just now tuning into the podcast for the first time, welcome aboard the Tanner train. So, I want to let you know that in ways to support the podcast, if you like the podcast, and you want to support it, you can go on to Apple Podcasts, iTunes, search out Full House Podcast or Fuller House Podcast. The Oh My Lanta Holy Tulips podcast will pop up. You can scroll down to leave a review. You can leave a review. You can use emojis. You can have fun with it. Tell me who your favorite character is, your least favorite character, maybe your favorite episode of either show. Also, all 5-star reviews do help this podcast get noticed by other Full and Fuller House fans like yourselves. Another thing that sets this podcast apart from other Full House and Fuller House podcasts is that is a kid-friendly. It is safe for the whole family. It's 100% clean. There is another clean Full House podcast called What's This Full House Podcast. That one is really good. The episodes are usually only about maybe a half hour long, so not very long. But it's still good. Run by one person. Awesome. Another thing with this podcast that sets it apart from others is I don't go in order episode by episode, season by season. I wanted to be different. I wanted to try a theme or, a series of episodes based on a character, or a theme. Right now we're doing the Sisters Double Feature Part 1. Next month in September and October are going to be back to school episodes. So I'm going to be covering Nerd for a Day, Pinch for a Pinch in September. Also, Dave Coulier, who plays Joey Gladstone, has a birthday, and I am going to be covering Joey's Place from Season 1. Also, September 21st, not only is Dave Coulier's birthday, but it is World Alzheimer's Awareness Day. I will be covering The Volunteer from Season 5. I think that is a very good episode, and I really think that I want to promote awareness for Alzheimer's by covering that episode. Also, in October, I will be covering the last 2 episodes of the Back to School Part 3, because I've done Parts 1 and 2 already. I'm going to be covering Working Girl from Season 4, and my mind is blanking. Stephanie Gets Framed from Season 4 or 5. Gosh, I'm blanking again. Oh my goodness. I call myself a Full House podcast aficionado. Also, Elias Harger, who plays Max Fuller on Fuller House, is also celebrating a birthday in October. So I will be covering Season 5 Basic Training, where he gets to skip a grade and goes to middle school and does have difficulty fitting in. Max, with the vests, with the suits, with the bow ties, the briefcase. That's not going to go over so greatly with the middle school crowd. So he tries to reinvent his look. Is wearing the shorts and the t-shirt and the backwards hat. And he tries to change himself to appease the middle school population. And it's just, the family does take notice. Like, this is not the Max that we love. What's going on? Like, there is a deeper issue here. And we do learn a fun fact about how DJ and Kimmy became friends. You think it was just because they lived next door to each other? Oh no. No, because a teacher paired them up on a field trip. And I just thought, oh, that is so sweet. But we'll get into that in October. So yeah, also, follow along with the podcast on the social media sites. Just go to Facebook, type in Full House or Fuller House Podcast. The Oh My Lanta Holy Chilubas podcast will pop up. That way you'll know what episodes I'm covering month to month. I do a different series of episodes per month. Usually January's are they're reserved for Jessie. So in January of 2020, I covered Jessie and Becky a love story. In January 2021, I covered Jessie and Becky the next chapter. This coming January is going to be called Jessie and the Girls, featuring episodes with Jessie and DJ, Jessie and Stephanie, and Jessie and Michelle. So, also on Instagram, OMHC Full House Fuller House Pod. I know it's a mouthful. And of course, OMHC Full House on Twitter. I also have an email address for the podcast, omhcfhfhpodcast@gmail.com. I do put it in the episode description of each podcast episode, so that way if you want to reach out to me personally, talk about your Full House and Fuller House memories, favorite characters, best episodes, worst characters, I want to hear about it. I would love to hear about it. If you want me to share it on the podcast, I'll do that. So, yeah, send me an email. If you want to, another thing, if you have opinions about the episodes I've already covered or plan to cover, and you want to get your thoughts out there for everyone to hear, I would love that. Just, again, remember, this is a family-friendly, clean podcast. A family-friendly, clean podcast, and just keep it clean. All right, without further ado, let's jump into Take My Sister, Please. Oh, one other thing. Yeah, I remember, do you remember the movie with Daniel Day-Lewis? Oh, my goodness. Yes. I saw that movie in the theater, and the scene that kept playing in my mind was when DJ was spouting off this strange but interesting fact that Stephanie and Michelle are the same age that I and Stephanie were when we had to start sharing a room. And then Joey says, yeah, that is kind of crazy. It's like how, Lincoln had a secretary named Kennedy, and Kennedy had a secretary named Lincoln. And I swear it kept playing on a loop in my head, that whole movie. And I'm just like, why? I gotta say, I don't think Lincoln would have been able to handle the likes of Joey Gladstone if Joey Gladstone existed during that time. Joey definitely does seem like one who would eventually get on somebody's nerves over time with the voices, Joey can be serious. There are times when he does have great advice. And there are times we have seen Joey angry. And it's just like this whole other side. It's like when Joey gets angry, he gets angry. Like in Joey's Place. We'll get to that in September. All right, let's focus on Take My Sister, Please. Of course, before we get into the episode proper here, we do have the cold open. We are in Michelle's room. This is a Michelle and Jessie scene, so you know it's going to be super adorbs. Michelle screams, hurry up! Like, oh my gosh, girl, slow your roll. Jessie comes in with a cup of water, and he tells Michelle about the Cassopolis way to get rid of hiccups. Don't you just hate hiccups? Aren't they the worst? Especially if they happen at night, you're trying to fall asleep. Oh my goodness. Jessie says the Cassopolis way to get rid of hiccups is legendary. So he tells Michelle to flap her arms like a chicken and wiggle her eyebrows like Groucho Marx. And she is like, got her eye. It's like she's trying to see her eyebrows wiggle. Because her eyes are like at the top of her head. Well, Jesse says, actually, this has nothing to do with the cure. I just want to see if you're dopey enough to do it. This look at Michelle's face. She just kind of rolls her eyes like, ugh, okay. Like, well, I fell for that. So he tells her, what you gotta do is take a sip of water. And she doesn't just take a sip. She, like, I don't know really how much water is in there, but he has to pull the cup away from her. He tells her, okay, now you have to say the magic words. Let me guess. Are the magic words, hiccups go away? Oh, no. Those magic words are, have mercy. I love it when she says, have mercy. And of course, after he's like, hey, you see that? And she hiccups. It's like, okay, what else you got? What's your plan B here, Jess? Because that's not helping. I thought there was something where there are many old tricks, like taking a big breath and holding it. There's also someone like trying to scare you or spook you into, your hiccups going away. I heard standing on your head. But I don't know, honestly, what are the cure to get rid of hiccups? Or you just have to let it go at its own pace and eventually it will just, go away. I don't know. Have you ever, and I know I've had that before, where you have hiccups one day, you go to bed with hiccups, and then you think, okay, well, the next day they'll be gone. Sure enough, the next day, they're back. They didn't leave. What? Jesse stands up, goes over to Michelle's dresser, puts the cup on top of the dresser, and says, all right, we'll go to the New England Medical Journal. The New England Journal of Medicine. So he's gonna, because she's standing, facing away from him. So I think he's gonna do the scare tactic. He's gonna do the scare technique to scare the hiccups away. So he goes and like grabs her waist from behind, gives a little tickle, and she turns and looks at him. Let me guess, the hiccups are still there. Oh my goodness! Michelle gets angry. She says, that wasn't very nice, and I'm telling Daddy. Whoa, pumpkin. And Jesse's like, no, Michelle, don't do that. Just don't get me in trouble. I was just trying to help. I mean, it worked, didn't it? And she stops in the doorway and turns to look at Jesse. No, it didn't, because she just hiccuped again. She walks out into the hallway. Dad!
Hurry up!
I'm coming, Michelle.
That was a big one.
All right, stay cool, Michelle. Now, the Katsopolis cure for hiccups never fails. Now, what you gotta do is flap your arms like a chicken and wiggle your eyes like Groucho. Actually, this has nothing to do with the cure. I was just trying to see if you were dopey enough to do it.
Look at her face.
All right, now here's the real cure. What you do is take a sip of water. Okay, now what you gotta do is say the magic words. Have mercy.
Have mercy.
See that? All right, we'll go to the cure recommended by the New England Journal of Medicine.
That wasn't very nice. I'm telling Daddy.
Oh, come on, Michelle. I'm just trying to help. Don't get me in trouble here. It worked, didn't it?
Dad!
Okay, so we come out of the intro. We are in DJ's room where DJ, Kimmy, and Rick, DJ's crush, are studying history. And DJ asks, okay, what do we know about Jefferson? And immediately Kimmy's like, she says, he owns a cleaning store and he's married to Wheezy. No, not the Jeffersons. I think she's referring to Thomas Jefferson. And I love how DJ apologizes for Kimmy to Rick. Like, don't listen to Kimmy. She's got a seat reserved in summer school. Oh, Kimmy, she's not subtle at all. She's like, so, Rick, are you free this weekend? I know DJ's free this weekend. And Kimmy's like, DJ says, oh, jeez, Kimmy, really subtle. And Rick says, well, I don't have any plans, but they're opening a new roller coaster at Thrill Mountain. So there's a Thrill Mountain. There's also a Happy Mountain from the Long Goodbye episode, I remember. Yeah, Joey says they're opening a new ride or something at Happy Mountain or something to that effect. And then I'm trying to remember where Jackson and Ramona go. I thought that was also like Thrill Mountain or something. I'm not sure. The ride is called the Squirminator. In my mind, I just picture a ride like going around the curb or whatever, or a loop, and someone all of a sudden someone throws a bucket of bugs on people. The Squirminator. Ugh, that's a gross image. Ugh. And DJ says, "Oh, well, that's this weekend when we're both free." And Kimmy says, "Yeah, that's not obvious." And she rolls her eyes. And Rick is about to ask DJ, like, "Oh, well, I was thinking maybe you and I can..." And here comes Stephanie. Ugh. She has to come in at this exact precise moment. Yeah, and she starts saying, "Hey, you must be the Rickmeister, Rickorama, Rickshaw Man, Ricky Tikki Tavi." Anyone else remember Ricky Tikki Tavi? From their cartoons I remember watching in 2nd grade, and I was able to find them on DVD. They have, let me go grab that. Yeah, these are cartoons from like the 60s and 70s. There is, let's see, there's Ricky Tikki Tavi, there's Yankee Doodle Cricket, the White Seal is the one I remember in 2nd grade. That one freaked me out. Ricky Tikki Tavi, also remember that one. Mowgli's Brothers is another one that I remember. And then there's A Very Merry Cricket, which is off of a cricket. Yeah, A Cricket in Times Square. There's the other one, then A Very Merry Cricket. So, yeah, this is just the Chuck Jones collection. I think it was like maybe under $20, which I haven't watched them yet. I think they have them on YouTube also, but I just thought, like, oh, I'll get the whole collection. I think Stephanie is going to get the worst outfit award right now. She is in the running. She's got the top is like fuchsia. I don't know if it's a dress of sorts or something, like a dress, like, shirt. And then it's like, on the bottom, it's like, on one side it's green, and then the other side it's orange. But it's got these weird, like, diamond, like, sparkly thing. It's really gaudy looking. And DJ breaks up, my annoying sister was just leaving. And Stephanie says, "No, your adorable sister was just making herself comfortable." And she pulls up a chair. I'd be like, okay, so let's all just say Stephanie's going to get payback later on in the Driving Miss DJ episode when Stephanie's one friend, Rita, comes over, and Michelle comes in with and the whole thing about the hairy, scary monster. So that's going to come back to bite Stephanie in the butt later. Much, much later. Actually, honestly, I think it's this season. It is this season. It's episode 20, so it's like 17 episodes from now. Stephanie's gonna get the same treatment via Michelle because they'd be sharing a room. That would irritate the heck out of me. She just pulls up a chair and just starts yammering. I'm like, sweetie, you can see they got their books out, they're doing homework, and you need to make yourself scarce. The house is big enough, there are other people, go find Joey and annoy him. Or better yet, find Michelle and annoy her. Come on, Steph! Then she starts putting her feet up on the table, and you see Kimmy just rolling her eyes looking at DJ like, you're gonna get your sister out of here. She's ruining everything. So DJ and Kimmy take it upon themselves to forcibly remove Stephanie from the room, chair and all, as they lift Stephanie's chair up and carry it out of the room into the hallway. And Stephanie's like, hey, wait a minute. A moment, please, as they put her out in the hallway. And as Kimmy and DJ go back into the room, Stephanie's like, can we talk? And Stephanie says, how And then they slam the door and she says, rude! It's like, no, sweetie, you're the one who's being rude. You're interrupting their study session. There should be a rule. If DJ is entertaining her friends in her room, then Stephanie should be able to find something else to do for the time being. But I definitely agree with DJ in this episode. She's almost 15. She needs her own room. So DJ luckily brings Rick back up to speed. Like, oh, Rick, what, you were going to ask me something? Here comes Stephanie again. With the door was shut. She's like, you nutty teenagers are always up to something. And Stephanie's like, she's making a big production. She's just being very overly irritating and loud. He's like, you nutty teenagers are always up to something. Like, you're always trying to keep me out of my own room. She pushes Stephanie over, like, go sit on your bed. And DJ brings up Thrill Mountain. Like, yeah, we were just talking about Thrill Mountain. And, of course, here comes Stephanie again. Thrill Mountain? I love Thrill Mountain. Hey, DJ, remember that time we were on that ride and you had a bunch of corn dogs before and you, like, threw up all over the ride? Yeah, Stephanie says, hey, DJ, remember the time that you threw up on the wild weasel? And DJ's like, no, I don't. Yeah, DJ says, no, like, Stephanie, shut up right now. And Stephanie's like, how could you forget? We were pigging out on corn dogs and they had to hose the ride down. They had to shut the ride down and hose it down for 30 minutes. And, of course, Rick hears this, like, oh, well, looks like you're not ready. I don't think you can handle the Squirminator. Yeah, he makes a quick exit. Look, I gotta go. I'll see you guys in school tomorrow. Yeah, Yeah, then Stephanie's like, bye, Rick Monster, Rickatoni, Dickory Dickory Dock. Someone whoever wrote these lines, like, had to come up with a bunch of these names for the name Rick. Now that Rick's gone, DJ lays into Stephanie, says, Stephanie, you ruined everything. Rick was just about to ask me out. And Stephanie is just oblivious. Maybe he'll ask you out tomorrow. And DJ says, yeah, by tomorrow he'll find someone else who can hold their corn dogs on the Squirminator. Yeah, she's like, yeah, by tomorrow he'll find someone who can hold their corn dogs. They'll fall madly in love and all wind up desperate and alone. And Stephanie comes over, pats DJ on the back of her shoulder and says, you'll never be alone. You'll always have me. And DJ looks at Stephanie and says, I don't want you. You are always in my way. Yeah, and DJ says, matter of factly, I am getting my own room, and you, little sister, are history. Okay, now she's doing this with DJ's name. Come on, the Dijanizer. The Dijon mustard. Oh my goodness. That chair is still in the hallway. Someone's going to trip over that thing. I mean, I get it, that hallway's like humongous, but still. I would trip into that chair because, yeah, I'm me, and I don't tend to look up very often when I'm up. That's just, I am getting better at that, is trying to, like, walk with my head up. It's just from years of, lack of self-confidence and everything, I tend to look at the floor when I walk. And that leads to problems. Trip over my own feet, stuff like that. Bump into stuff. Don't have the best coordination.
Okay, chapter 6. What do we know about Jefferson? He owns a cleaning store and he's married to Wheezy. Don't mind Kimmy. She has a seat reserved in summer school. So, Rick, are you free this weekend? I know DJ's free this weekend. Very subtle, Kimmy.
Well, I don't have any plans. But hey, they're opening a new roller coaster on Saturday night at Thrill Mountain. The Squirminator.
Well, that's this weekend, when we're both free. Yeah, that's not obvious.
I was thinking that maybe you and I could...
Hey, you must be Rick, the Rickmeister, Rickorama, the Rickshaw Man, Ricky Ticky Tappy.
My annoying little sister was just leaving.
No, your adorable little sister was just making herself comfortable.
Get out of there, Steph. Dang, you're annoying.
Hey, wait a minute. Moment, please. Can we talk? Just a... How? Rude!
So, Rick, where were we?
You nutty teenagers are always goofing around.
Get out,
As if
Steph.
you want me in my own room.
Yeah, she's being loud and obnoxious.
So, Rick, we were just talking about Thrill Mountain.
Thrill Mountain? I love Thrill Mountain. Deej, remember the time you threw up on the wild weasel?
No.
How could you forget? We were pigging out on corn dogs, and they had to stop the ride for 30 minutes to hose it down.
Can you believe it?
Well, sounds like you're not ready for the Squirminator. I gotta go. I'll see you guys in school tomorrow.
Bye, Rick Monster. Rickatoni. Rickery Dickory Dock.
Stephanie,
Winnicott?
you ruined everything. Rick was just about to ask me out.
Maybe he'll ask you out tomorrow.
Oh, sure. By tomorrow, he'll find someone who can hold our corn dogs. They'll fall in love on the Squirminator, and I'll end up desperate and alone.
You'll never be alone. You'll always have me.
I don't want you. You are always in my way. I'm getting my own room. You, little sister, are history.
Come on. The Dejanizer. The Dijon Monster. Come on.
Alright, so in the next scene, we are downstairs in the kitchen. It looks like Becky is getting drinks set up. She's got a picture of, could be lemonade. And she's got like a serving tray and all these cups because they're going to be hosting the Lamaze. They're going to be doing the Lamaze class at the Tanner house. And Becky sent Jesse out to get the provisions, the chips, and all that fun stuff. He's got 3 grocery bags, you know, the paper bags, filled with chips. So, you know, he comes in, kisses her, asks how the little twinsters are doing as he rubs her belly, and she's like, oh yeah, they're doing fine. So she asks, you know, what'd you get me? He's like, just what you asked for. Salt and vinegar potato chips, which I love salt and vinegar potato chips, Pringles, pork rind, what, so good. Actually, speaking of pork rinds, or pork cracklins, there's a lot of gas stations down here called Racetrack, and one of them in particular does have, I believe the brand is called Epic, like pork rinds, pork cracklins, but it's the maple bacon seasoning flavor, and it's so good. So, apparently Becky's food cravings due to the twins wanting different things. Maybe one wanted salt and vinegar. Now the other one wants... She's like, oh, is this what I asked for? Because I really have a craving for garlic and cheddar chips. Is that a thing? Apparently, I mean, unless... just find some garlic chips and some cheddar cheese chips and just put them in eat one of each at the same time, and boom, there's your chip. But, I mean, she's carrying twins, so maybe one wanted the salt and vinegar, the other one wants the garlic and cheddar. It seems like when he left to go get chips, she wanted one thing, and now she's got a craving for something else. The way that Jesse pulls back and he's like, that sounds gross. Like, garlic and cheddar? I wouldn't mind it. And Jesse's like, well, you know, I figured you probably would have changed your mind because, you know, you paged me for the second time while I was at the market. Because, you know, before cell phones, I guess, if you needed something, you paged somebody. And it just seems like, I thought like back in the day, I thought pagers were mainly for like doctors or reporters or something. Like Vicky always has a pager because she's a news reporter. The news is always changing. But I remember in my high school a couple guys having pagers. Or maybe even some girls had pagers too, and I'm just thinking... And they don't, you know, the girls were like, oh, my boyfriend just sent me a page. It's got heart, whatever, blah, I love you, blah, 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 hearts and kisses, hugs and kisses. I don't know. But I never owned a pager. Now Jessie empties out 3 grocery bags of chips onto the counter. He says, I got every chip known to man. No, he did not. He got original. The green ones are probably sour cream and onion, and I'm guessing that the red ones got to be either barbecue or I'm just going to say barbecue. He calls it the pregnancy variety pack. Do they even have enough cupboards to store all that stuff? Oh, you know what you do? You get a tote, you put a couple bags in the cupboard, and then you put the rest in a tote, and you replenish as you go through them, I guess. And Becky says, oh, honey, you're so thoughtful. You know, you didn't get any with ridges. Did you get any with ridges? And Jessie doesn't get it. You know, what's the deal with ridges? I mean, it looks like a potato chip that needs to be ironed. And Becky says, you know, those ridges pick up a lot more bean dip. And Jessie, oh, crap. I forgot the bean dip. And she's like, oh, honey, don't worry about it. You know, you can go for it after class. Those chips don't even have flavors. It says chips on the top of the bag in red font with white. And then in the yellow, it just says in red font, potato chip. So who knows of what flavor. It's a mystery flavor. Oh, the green ones do say sour cream and onion. What do the red ones say? Yeah, she says, honey, those ridges help you scoop up a lot more bean dip. And Jesse, his eyes get so wide. Oh, no, the bean dip. I forgot. He goes to the door. She's like, honey, don't worry. It doesn't matter. We have to set up for our childbirth class. And and Jessie starts walking towards the living room. She's like, hey, guess what? You can go shopping for bean dip after class. He's like, oh, goody.
Hey, sweetheart.
Hi, honey.
How you doing?
Mm-hmm. Good.
How are little twinsters doing?
Fine. What'd you get me?
Well, just what you wanted. Salt and vinegar potato chips.
Oh, honey, is that what I asked for? Because I really have a craving for garlic and cheddar chips.
Well, I had a feeling you might change your mind, especially after the second time you paged me at the market. So I got every chip known to man. It's the pregnancy variety pack.
Oh,
I don't know,
you
I
are
had to
so
inspect those
thoughtful.
chips.
You didn't have to get any with the ridges, did you?
Yeah, so much for a variety pack.
What's the big deal about ridges? It's like a potato chip that needs to be ironed.
Honey, those ridges help you scoop up a lot more bean dip.
Oh, no, the bean dip. I forgot.
Oh, sweetie, you know what? That's okay. It doesn't matter. We have to set up for our childbirth class right now.
Right.
You can shop for bean dip after class is over.
Oh, goody.
Yay! Not.
Whoa, a million billion chips.
Oh, the red ones are
Nobody in the
barbecue.
kitchen? Nuts, childproof.
So, yeah, Michelle comes down to the kitchen. Of course, there's no one in there. And she sees all these chips covering the top of the kitchen table. And she says, wow, a million billion chips and nobody in the kitchen. And she rushes over to them, climbs into the chair, and starts pulling on the top of the bag, which luckily for Jessie and Becky, the chips appear to be kid-proof because she can't open them. And you know those chips are pretty much like 80% air, 20% chips. Yeah, that's just how it is. So now we move to the living room where Becky is telling Jessie we got to move all the furniture back so that way they have room for all the pregnant ladies that are going to be coming over for Lama's class. And here comes Joey and Danny coming down the stairs like, hey, see you, we're out of here. They're going to a Warriors game. And as soon as they go to open the front door, who happens to show up but Lisa, Becky and Jessie's childbirth coach. And Becky tells the guys before they open the door and Lisa shows up, you guys are welcome to stay for childbirth class. I mean, it's really interesting. And I'm just kind of thinking, over the course of the birth of DJ, Stephanie, and Michelle, did Pam do childbirth class, especially with, first being pregnant with DJ? And if so, did Danny go with her? I don't know. I'm kind of curious. And I love how Danny kind of plays it off like, oh, well, we'd love to, Becky, as he whips out the Warriors tickets, but we have tickets to a Warriors game. And Joey pops in, yep, them's the breaks. You ready, buddy? And Danny says, let's go, pal. And then they open the door, and here comes Lisa. Lisa is a beautiful brunette. She's wearing a white top with a blue long sleeve shirt button up with, it looks like the red shirt kind of goes with the red pants kind of combo. Becky introduces them, like, guys, this is Lisa Green. She teaches her childbirth class. So Danny goes and shakes Lisa's hand and says, hi, I'm Danny Tanner, your eager student. He pulls the ticket out of his pocket, says, enjoy the game, Joey. And Joey takes the ticket, gives it back to Danny as he says, hi, Joey Gladstone, ex-Warriors fan. Of course, Lisa's like chuckling. She finds this cute two guys vying for her attention. And I love how Lisa's polite, like, well, nice to meet you both, but in order to join our class, one of you has to be pregnant. And Joey, of course, rubbing his stomach, says, well, I have been retaining a lot of water lately. So this is interesting. It's almost like a foreshadowing as Danny says, well, I'm just, there in case Jesse passes out during childbirth and Becky needs a backup coach, which is interesting because Jesse ends up, his appendix taken out, and Danny does become a backup coach for Jesse to help Becky, which, yeah. I just think that it's just funny foreshadowing. Now, whether or not, as they're writing the script, if they already kind of knew that Danny would be taking the place of Jesse at this point, but I think it's hilarious foreshadowing for what's to come. Give me a break, Joey. Danny's been through this 3 times. Because Joey's like, and I'll be there to back up Danny. Back up when Danny passes out. He's had 3 kids with his wife, so pretty sure Danny has seen stuff that Joey would never see at this time. She says, okay, well, you're both welcome to stay and observe. And Danny says, oh, that's great, because I have a lot of questions about childbirth. Like, are you and your husband planning any children? Way to be subtle, Danny. He doesn't even jump to the fact, like, are you seeing anybody? He says, oh, are you and your husband planning children? So in a way, it's almost like just making sure she's not attached with anyone else. And she says, well, I am not married. No, she says, actually, I'm single. And here comes Joey pushing himself in front of Danny, saying, oh, what a coincidence. So am I. See, that really garbage Daffy Duck impression. But, and of course, she right away knows her cartoon. She's like, Daffy Duck. And Danny says, no, he just spits when he talks. And I love Jesse kind of watching this go down. He's like, yeah, it's going to be a tough choice. Like, yeah, walks away as he's setting stuff up. Like, oh, yeah, I feel for you. You got a tough choice here. I'm thinking, yeah, between Danny and Joey. And then DJ. So DJ comes down the stairs with some large, I don't even know what you would even call these. They're like big, like card things that would go on an easel, like during a presentation and stuff like that. I don't know what you refer to them as. But she says, Dad, Joey, Uncle Jesse, can I please see you in the kitchen? Really, Danny? He says, honey, I'm really busy right now. Is it important? I'm like, okay, she pretty much looks like she's leaning towards the Joey side of things. She didn't flat out reject Danny, or Lisa didn't. And DJ says, Dad, this is my biggest crisis this week. He's like, okay, we'll be right there.
Move all this furniture back.
Hey, see you guys. Have a good time.
You guys are welcome to stay for childbirth class. It's really interesting.
Oh, we'd love to, Becky, but darn our luck, we're stuck with these 2 tickets to the Warriors game.
Yeah, those are the breaks. Let's roll, buddy.
Okay, pal.
Oh, who's this lady?
Hi.
Guys, this is Lisa Green. She teaches our childbirth class.
Hi, Lisa. I'm Danny Tanning, your eager student. Enjoy the game, Joey.
Hi, I'm Joey Gladstone, ex-Warriors fan.
Nice meeting you both, but in order to join our class, one of you has to be pregnant.
Well, I have been retaining an awful lot of water lately.
It's funny. Actually, I'm just taking the class in case Jesse passes out in the delivery room and Becky needs a backup coach.
Then I'll be there to back up Danny when he passes out.
Well, okay, you're welcome to stay and observe.
That's
Well,
great,
he
because
does
I have
own
a
the
lot of
house,
questions about
so.
childbirth. Like, for instance, are you and your husband planning any children?
Actually, I'm single.
Well, what a coincidence. So am I.
Daffy Duck!
No, he just spits when he talks. Be a tough choice for you.
Jesse. So as Danny, Jesse, and Joey and DJ all head into the kitchen, we see Michelle on one end of the potato chip bag and Comet on the other, and he's pulling in one direction, she's pulling in the other direction, in the opposite direction. I'm just thinking, Michelle's lucky, like, Comet didn't pull so hard on that bag of chips that she lost her balance and fell backwards. Because, yeah, at this point in Season 5, Comet, even in Season 4, Comet was a full-grown dog. You know, he's about a year old. So, and Michelle only being, like, 4. I can see, if Comet's walking backwards and Michelle's walking, pulling in the, kind of like a tug of war, well, even though he's helping her, it's like he could have yanked hard enough on that bag that she could have lost her balance and fallen backwards. So, yeah, because he keeps pulling on the bag. Oh, he's pulling on the top of the bag and she's holding the bottom. And he's pulling on the bag and, like, kind of pulling her back with the bag. Danny comes in and says, Michelle, did you take these potato chips without asking? She, instead of answering, looks at Comet and says, I told you we'd get in trouble, so yeah, let's throw the blame on the Comet. The innocent bystander that just happened to be there. Comet hightails it out of here like, I'm out of here. Don't ask me to help you ever again, Michelle. So, DJ sets up her presentation boards on the plastic glass. So the plastic bin is red, the glass bin is green on the very bottom, and then the blue one is probably for, I can't tell what the light blue one on top is for. So DJ draws the attention back on her. She's like, excuse me, I'd like your attention for my presentation here, entitled, My Own Bedroom. Together, we can make it happen. Crafty title, I like that. Which, it's interesting because just 2 seasons ago, in Season 3, Divorce Court, during this Halloweenish episode, I did cover it for the podcast, DJ wants her own room, and at that point in time, Danny says, I believe that Michelle is still too young to have a roommate. And DJ starts off with the first point, but before she can get going with that, here comes Stephanie coming down the steps into the kitchen. Hey, don't listen to her! And DJ says, thank you, Stephanie, you just illustrated my first point. And we see the next card, interruptions. We have DJ talking on her phone, listening to music in her room. Oh, that's supposed to be her bed, like the pillows with the shapes on it. Oh, okay. And you just see a hand-drawn figure of Stephanie inside the door. She should have drawn like a little bubble around, you know, like a little word bubble like you see in, you know, the Peanuts comics and Garfield and stuff like that, to illustrate, you know, blah, 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 you know, the talking, the interrupting. And DJ says, I cannot talk on the phone, do my homework, or entertain my friends without her. And of course, Stephanie says, that's ridiculous. I do not. And then Danny cuts Stephanie off and says, Steph, just hold it. Yeah, he says, let's hear what DJ has to say, and then you'll get your chance to interrupt. And Stephanie says, that's all I ask. And Joey, the look on Joey's face, he just looks extremely irritated with Stephanie. It's like he's glowering down at her. I can already feel what DJ's feeling right now with Stephanie here. Yeah.
Then you'll get your chance to interrupt.
All I ask. Moving on to my next point.
And it takes the next board here that says 2 different worlds. DJ goes to high school, the land of maturity, in quotes. I don't know about that. And Stephanie and Michelle are in elementary school, as she refers to as Tiny Town. And she says, now, Stephanie and Michelle share a school, so they should share a room. And then she starts the next card, which says, strange but true facts. She says, Michelle and Stephanie are the same age as Stephanie and I were when we first started sharing a room. Isn't that amazing? And this is where we get Joey's... Yeah, at the beginning when DJ and Stephanie were sharing a room, they both did go to the same school. Because DJ didn't start junior high until season 3, Back to School Blues. She started 7th grade. So my guess, yeah, first season would have been 5th grade, then second season would have been 6th grade for DJ. So, of course, Stephanie is going to balk at this, saying, I object. I happen to be in 4th grade and have nothing in common with a kindergarten baby. Michelle, of course, takes offense to this. Who are you calling a baby? And DJ, of course, like, children, please. To bring up my next point, strange but true facts. Yeah, and this is where like I said, this is where DJ says, Michelle and Stephanie are the same age that Stephanie and I were when we first started sharing a room. She says, isn't that amazing? And Joey says, that is amazing. That's like the thing where Kennedy had a secretary named Lincoln, and Lincoln had a secretary named Kennedy. It's just the look that Jesse and Danny give Joey, like, what planet are you from? I love how after Joey says that, he kind of looks around and hopes for, like, agreement. Like, yeah, that is interesting. But no, Jesse says, I think what's amazing is the fact that you can dress yourself each morning. I love how Danny is like, he's chuckling on the inside. Can you see this little hint of like a laughing smile? Like he's holding it in. But then you see like his eyes kind of reflect like, yeah, that is amazing. Like, yeah, that just sounds like Joey. And DJ says, in conclusion, I've paid my dues and I deserve my own room. My goodness, DJ. She says, if there's any justice in this world, you'll set me free. Then she concludes, gentlemen, I thank you. Danny says, okay. Turns to Steph and asks, Steph, do you have a rebuttal? And somebody says, no, but you should hear my side of this. She is like praying, begging, please don't make me live with a kindergarten baby. So she really does not have an argument here. As in, it's all, like, I just don't want to live with Michelle because she's too young. She's too little. Yeah. Michelle says, I'm not a baby. I'm 4 3/4. Okay, Steph, you need to stop attacking Michelle. As she says, you're still a little shrimp. And you really think that she's gonna want to live with you after you calling her names? Oh, we get a throwback. We get a throwback to No More Mr. Dumb Guy. As Michelle says, stop calling me names, you cheesehead. Cheesehead, yes! When DJ and Stephanie were whispering into Michelle's ear and she was calling everybody cheesehead. I mean, she called Cynthia Ryan cheesehead. She called Uncle Jesse cheesehead. So Danny puts this out like, okay, that's enough, you two. Look, just give us guys a second and we're going to talk this over. So the guys are, in a huddle, and then Joey pulls his head out like, hey, can I see chart number 2? And Jesse, pulls, get on here. And they break, and Danny says, okay, we've come to a decision. And DJ is like, Dad, that's totally unfair. And he says, you haven't even heard what I had to say yet. And she says, oh, sorry. Just an old habit. And it turns out Danny says, we actually agree with you. And Danny says, starting this weekend, Michelle's going to move in with Stephanie, and Deej, you're going to get your own room. And she is so excited. Like, finally, my own room. I'm going to go and call Kimmy. Or no, she actually goes over to tell Kimmy, since, Kimmy lives right next door. And DJ is like, oh, finally, my own room. I have to go tell Kimmy. And she goes down the line and kisses Jesse on the cheek, then her dad, then Joey. And then she pats Stephanie on the head and says, nice knowing you, kid. Bye. Becky comes in and says, hey, guys, Lisa needs some help setting up. Any volunteers? And Joey taps Danny on the shoulders, Danny, and, points to some direction off of the stairs in the kitchen. And Danny looks, and Joey's like, okay, well, I'll go. And Jesse, kind of is like, what are you waiting for? Go after him. Go help. And here we go with Becky. Another want, another need. She says, honey, I'm a little chilly. Could you get my wool socks from up in the attic in the crawl space? He's like, yeah, I mean, our stuff's all in the crawl space. It's all dirty and, cobwebby and stuff. And she's like, oh, thank you, honey. Thank you so much for understanding. The demands are just, I guess, I mean, she doesn't have, wool socks, I don't know. This is clearly fall, because Double Trouble was just 2 episodes ago, so it's September at this point. September, October. I'm going to say maybe the twins were originally going to be due sometime in December. So maybe they don't have, slippers out. But it's like, honey, can you get my wool socks? That's something I would just keep in a drawer on hand instead of just packing it away. Especially when it gets to be fall, you more than likely are like, okay, time to take out my tank tops, put them away, and then get, my hoodies, long sleeve shirts, stuff probably even put the shorts away and stuff like that. But then again, sometimes they do have Indian summer in September where it's unusually warm. So you don't want to put everything away. But, with the excitement of fall and just hoodie weather. It's hoodie weather. Wait a minute, is she walking around barefoot? No wonder you're chilly. Your feet are probably cold. I thought when she meant I'm chilly, can you get me a sweater or something to that effect? Yeah, and the way that he says, honey, all our winter stuff's in the crawl space. You wouldn't have to crawl up there and get all dirty. And she's like, oh, thank you so much, honey. And she says, thank you, honey. He's like, no problem. She turns to go back into the living room, and he's like, just 2 more months. Just 2 more months. How late does a person who's pregnant have those food cravings? Does it go throughout the entire pregnancy? And Stephanie turns to Michelle and is like, okay, Michelle, I guess it's just you and me. And of course, if I were Michelle, I'd say the same thing. I don't want to live with you. And Stephanie is surprised. She says, "Why not? You look up to me." And Michelle says, "That's because I'm short." Like, I look up to everybody. I'm short. And Stephanie, it's like she's forgotten all the stuff she just said to Michelle about, "Oh, you're a kindergarten baby. You're a little shrimp." Like, we get to be roommates, Michelle. This should be the happiest day of your life. And Michelle says, "Read my lips." And she goes upstairs, and Stephanie sulks at the kitchen table and says, "Great. No one wants to live with me." Sweetie, I gotta say, Steph, you kind of did bring this on yourself with your attitude.
Dad, Uncle Jesse, Joey, may I please see you guys in the kitchen?
Actually, I'm kind of busy, honey. Is it really important?
Dad, this is my biggest crisis this week.
Okay, we're coming. Excuse us.
Pull it open, Comet. These are doggy poop, too.
Lucky he doesn't pull her off her
Honey,
feet.
did you take these potato chips without asking?
I told you we will get in trouble.
Yeah, let's blame Comet.
Excuse me, if I may have your attention, I'd like to make a very important presentation entitled My Own Room. Together, we can make it happen. The first point I'd like to make is that Stephanie...
Don't listen to her!
Yep.
Thank you, Stephanie. You've just illustrated my first point. Interruptions. I cannot talk on the phone, do my homework, or entertain my friends without
That's
her...
ridiculous! I do not!
Steph, let's hear what DJ has to say, and then you'll get your chance to interrupt.
All I ask.
Moving on to my next point. Two different worlds. I go to high school, land of maturity. Stephanie and Michelle go to elementary school, tiny town. Now, if they share a school, they should share a room.
I object. I happen to be in 4th grade and have nothing in common with a kindergarten baby like Michelle. Who are you calling a baby?
Children, please. To bring up my next point, strange but true facts. Stephanie and Michelle are the exact same age as Stephanie and I were when we started sharing a room. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing. It's like the thing where Kennedy had a secretary named Lincoln, and Lincoln had a secretary named Kennedy.
Oh, God, Joey.
What's amazing is you're able to dress yourself every morning.
In conclusion, I've paid my dues, and I deserve my own room. If there's any justice in this world, then you'll set me free. Gentlemen, I thank you.
Okay. Steph, do you have a rebuttal?
No, but you should hear my side of this. Please don't make me live with a 4-year-old baby. I'm not a baby. I'm 4 3/4. You're still a little shrimp. Stop calling me names, you cheesehead.
Okay, that's enough, you two. Just give us guys a second, and we're going to talk this over.
Can I see chart number 2 again?
Get in. Okay, we've come to a decision.
Dad, that's so unfair.
You haven't even heard what I have to say yet.
Sorry, just a habit.
It just so happens that we agree with you.
You do? You do?
Starting this weekend, Michelle is going to move in with Stephanie, and DJ, you're going to get your own room.
Finally, my own room. I have to go tell Kitty. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey guys, Lisa needs some help setting up. Any volunteers?
Danny?
Honey, I'm a little chilly. Could you get my wool socks?
Sweetheart, all our winter stuff is up in the crawl space. We have to crawl up there and get all dirty and...
Thank you, sweetheart.
No problem, darling. 2 more months.
So she's 7 months old. Okay.
Well, Michelle, I guess it's just you and me. I don't want to live with you. Why not? You look up to me. That's because I'm short. Michelle, we're going to be roommates. This should be the happiest day of your life. Read my lips. Nobody wants to live with me.
Well, Steph, you're gonna run around yourself. So now we go upstairs to DJ and Stephanie's room, soon to be Stephanie and Michelle's room. And Stephanie's packing a suitcase. And she says, Comet, you don't know what it's like to have everyone against you. And then Stephanie goes over to the closet and starts pulling out clothes and says, oh, that's right, because she actually shares closet space with DJ. Because there's a blazer in there. I'm like, Stephanie wouldn't wear a blazer. But she says, if DJ and Michelle don't want to live with me, then I'll just have to find a place of my own. And Comet barks at her. And she says, well, thanks for the offer, Comet, but I think it'd be a little too crowded in your doghouse. I thought he usually sleeps in, like, the laundry room or something. And it's such a sweet scene as she sits next to Comet on her bed. And she, leans her head against the back of his head on his neck. It's like, aww. And you can clearly tell that the dog who plays Comet is reacting to a trainer. And it looks like he had a treat or something, because it looks like right around his muzzle, just below his nose, it looks like there's like foam, like he had a treat and he'd been eating it or something, because there's like a little bit of foam around. I know, too much detail.
Comet, you don't know what it's like to have everyone against you. Well, DJ and Michelle don't want to live with me. I'll just find a place of my own. Thanks for the offer, but it might be a little crowded in your doghouse.
Alright, so now we're in the living room during Becky's childbirth class, or Lama's class, and there are 5 other couples here. 6 total if you count Jesse and Becky. And they're just going through their breathing exercises. As Lisa goes down the line of couples, just saying, breathe in, breathe out. And, of course, Danny's got his watch he's looking at because he's timing them as Joey is mimicking breathing in and then breathing out. So now Lisa moves on to focus objects, which I believe that is what the women center on. They focus their mind on a particular object to hopefully take their mind off of the pain that they're going through. Really, apparently this is what the mothers are going to be focusing on during labor. I did not see Becky's focus object while she was going through labor and pushing out Nikki and Alex, because she actually pushed them out. She did not have a C-section, so. Jesse, he pulls out a Ken Barbie doll-sized version of Elvis in a white jumpsuit. And, of course, Becky just rolls her eyes and says, Jess, when you're in labor and giving birth, you can focus on the king. Jesse pulls out a giant drumstick. It's humongous. It looks like they picked it up from a butcher shop. It doesn't. And we see a couple behind them. It looks like they're either looking at a family picture or a drawing that one of their kids did. I can only see the back of it. Or they could be focusing on a magic eye painting thing. Not a painting. Those. I tried that, I believe, in like 2nd or 3rd grade. And I finally had to give up and just say, oh, yeah, I see it. And then the teacher says, well, what is that? I don't know. I focused too dang. You gotta have that mindset, I guess. But then again, I can see, images of things, and who out there can't, honestly, I don't know. Moving on. Images in the clouds. And Lisa stands up at the front door, just on the doorstep there, and says, all right, our last exercise is going to be exhaling, breathing out, breathing with our focus objects. So Danny turns to Joy and says, all right, give it a try. Breathe in. Joy breathes in. Breathe out. And then Danny turns Joey around so he's facing the direction of the kitchen door. And Danny figures, well, this is my shot to go and ask Lisa out. So Danny right away is like, if I seem kind of advanced, it's because I've already been through 4 births. My own and my 3 daughters. And Danny goes on to say, as Joey comes up here to jump into the conversation, Danny says, you know, seeing my 3 girls being born was the most beautiful thing in my life. And of course, Joey has to chime in with, yeah, I mean, when Wilma gave birth to Pebbles, I mean, I cried for a week. That had to honestly be one of those big, like, you know how they play those big episodes of shows, like they wait for the big ones? During, what is it, either February or May, which are, what do they call it, like Sweeps Month or Sweeps Week or something where they want to hit the ratings, so they hit with these really powerhouse packs a punch type of episodes. Yeah, and Joey's like, tell me about it. When Fred and Wilma had Pebbles, I cried for a week. And of course, Joey proceeds to impersonate Fred Flintstone. Yabba dabba doo. Yeah. And you know, right, Lisa is attracted to the voices that Joey. That's his hook. That's what brings in the ladies, is the voices. Me, on the other hand, no. That is something I would like. It's okay once in a while, but if you're constantly doing it, that is really going to grate on my nerves. So clearly, Danny, he throws out one last, attempt. He's like, oh, yeah, I do voices, too. Stop kissing me, you mean cat? And she's like, yeah, that's pretty good. Who is that? It's almost like she's being polite as she says it. That was really good. Who was that? Oh, man. Because he's like, yeah, I do voices, too. And he says, yeah, it was Tom, the little mouse, from Tom and Jerry. Joey behind Danny is just literally rolling his eyes to the heavens like, oh, please, Danny. Yeah, Joey says so matter-of-factly, Jerry was the mouse, Tom was the cat, and neither one of them ever talked. Like, dude, get your cartoons straight. You need to bone up on your Tom and Jerry. And throw in Tom and Jerry's kids, too. Because that was a good one, too. Danny is just, he kind of plague glares at Joey and just says, get a life. But Lisa actually supports Joey here by saying, no, Joey's right. Yeah, she says, yeah, Joey's right. Jerry's the mouse who doesn't talk at all, but Mickey Mouse, he talks all the time on any subject. Well, you know what? It sounds like Mickey Mouse and Danny Tanner should get together and just talk. Because you know how Danny loves to talk, ramble, on and on forever. So here we go with Joey. He has found his cartoon aficionado in Lisa. And he brings up one of the biggest, type of thing. It's a question that baffles everybody that sees how, yeah, exactly. Take Pluto. He's a dog, right? Wears a dog collar, lives in a dog house. Goofy, of course, also a dog, wears a hat, drives a car. Where's the logic in that? That seriously has been a question that has stumped people for years. I want to play this little clip real quick from Stand By Me, where the boys are around the campfire in the woods at night, and they're talking about what exactly is Goofy. I'll even go so far as to call this whole Goofy Pluto, is Goofy a dog? Is he not a dog? Like, would you call that a conspiracy? Would you refer to that as a conspiracy theory?
Alright, Mickey's a mouse, Donald's a duck, Pluto's a dog. What's Goofy?
Joey says, Goofy, also a dog, wears a hat, drives a car, plays golf, and lives in a condo. Yuck, yuck. Yuck. And Lisa says, see, that is exactly what I was talking about. And Danny, I love how he, like, looks at Joey and then looks at Lisa and back to Joey and then back to Lisa and says, you know what? You two are actually perfect for each other. I'm sorry I tried to pick you up. And Danny excuses himself, like, I'll be right over here. I love how immediately Joey calls her Lise. Says, hey, Lise, would you like to go out for pizza sometime? And she's like, yeah, I would love to go out with you, just as soon as class is over. She looks at everybody. Class is over. Joey throws up his hands like, okay, cool.
In. Breathe out. Breathe in. Cleansing breath. Okay, let's all take out our focus objects. Remember, this is what the mothers will be concentrating on during labor.
Here you go, babe. Focus on the king.
Jess, when you give birth, you focus on the king.
All right. Better?
Much. Our last exercise will be deep breathing with our focus objects.
Okay, try it again. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay, keep going. Hi there.
Hi.
You know, if I seem a little advanced, it's because I've already been through 4 births. My 3 daughters and, of course, my own. You know, seeing my 3 girls being born was the most beautiful experience of my life.
Yeah, tell me about it. When Fred and Wilma had Pebbles, I cried for a week.
I love those voices you do.
You know, I do a few cartoon voices myself.
Yeah, right.
Hey, stop chasing me, you mean cat.
That was really good.
Like, whatever.
Who was that?
I thought she's so polite.
You know, little mouse from Tom and Jerry.
Tom was a cat, Jerry was the mouse, and neither one of them ever talked.
Like, you are such a dumb
That's right. And Jerry is a mouse that never talks. But what is fascinating is that Mickey, he's also a mouse, and he can just talk for hours on any subject.
Yeah, just like Pluto, for instance. I mean, this guy's a dog, he wears a dog collar and lives in a dog house. Yet Goofy, who's also a dog, drives a car, plays golf, and lives in a condo.
That is exactly what I was talking about.
You know what? You two are actually perfect for each other. I'm sorry I tried to pick you up. I'll be right over here.
Lise, would you like to go out for pizza sometime?
I'd love to go out with you. Just as soon as class is over. Class is over. Snack time.
So now we move into the kitchen because it's snack time. Well, it's snack time for the soon-to-be mamas. The soon-to-be dads, however, because Jesse sets out several, it looks like bowls of chips. Several bowls of chips. And the ladies, they just jump into it, just grabbing the bowls. And you see the guys on the other side of the table reaching with their hands to try to get something. And Jesse, who's at the head of the group, is like, watch out, guys, it's feeding time. It's like, back, get back. You're going to lose a hand. Okay, there isn't just potato chips. There's chicken drumsticks as well. Because this redhead has got a glass bowl with drumsticks. So, Becky, again, getting another craving from soon-to-be born Nikki and Alex. She got a craving for seedless watermelon. So Jesse's like, yeah, watermelon's out of season. I probably had to drive to Mexico to get it. And Becky looks at him and says, well, you've got a car. Becky, he's not driving out of the country to get you watermelon. Can't you, find watermelon practically year-round? I don't know, maybe not. Jeremy is not a fan of watermelon. I've always liked watermelon. I don't have it that much, but I do like it. Seedless watermelon, I feel, is definitely the way to go. That way you don't have to worry about those black seeds. Like, ugh, no thank you. And Jessie, of course, is trying to invoke the opinion of the other soon-to-be dads. Like, can you believe this, guys? She wants me to go to Mexico to get her seedless watermelon? You'll leave the country? Really? Yeah, Beck, it is almost kind of like a battle of the sexes here between the soon-to-be mommies versus the soon-to-be daddies. And she says, we shouldn't have to send them, ladies. They should be happy to go. They're all like, yeah. But Jessie said, well, wait a minute. I'm more than happy to go to the supermarket for whatever you need, but leaving the country because you got some wacky craving for seedless watermelon, which will probably, by the time I get back, you'll have a craving for something completely different? That's where I draw the line. Right. Yeah, it makes me think of Lady and the Tramp when Darlene was pregnant and she was sending Jim Deere out to get, I think she wanted seedless watermelon too, or just watermelon, but she also wanted chop suey. And he just, I mean, and this one, mind you, was back in what? This was before, well, there were some cars out there, so it had to be somewhere in like the late 20s, early 30s, 1930s. I'm just like, really? Hey. And the guys are all agreeing with Jessie, like, yeah, I ain't going to Mexico for seedless watermelon. And Jessie says, you know, next thing she'll probably want, Swiss chocolate. And she looks at him and says, you know, that does sound good. And then she's like, why don't you go get it? And he says, I'm not going to Switzerland. You gotta go all the way to Switzerland to get Swiss chocolate? Just get her this Toblerone says it has Swiss milk chocolate in it. There's Swiss Miss. That's Quinn's nickname. I call her Swiss Miss on occasion. I don't know why. Swiss Delish dark chocolate squares. So you can get something. Oh, Swiss chocolate is chocolate produced in Switzerland. Well, okay. Okay, prove me wrong. Okay. Well, cocoa beans and other ingredients such as sugar can originate from outside Switzerland. The actual production of the chocolate must, guys, it's a M-U-S-T, must take place in Switzerland. Switzerland's chocolates have earned an international reputation for high quality with many famous international chocolate brands. So if you want original, melt in your mouth, not in your hand, Swiss chocolate, you need to get your fanny, take a train, take a plane, whatever, and get your fan over to Switzerland, and you get yourself some Swiss chocolate. Pick some up for me too. Because I wouldn't mind trying Swiss chocolate. I mean, if you out there are willing to make the trip, definitely hook me up with some Swiss chocolate, right? Okay, so Becky here says, Jess, you're missing the point. It's not about where you go. It's about you guys being there for us. How has he not been there? He even volunteered to crawl into that nasty cobweb-filled attic to get your winter shoes. I mean, your stockings, your slippers, your wool socks. I don't know what they were. He volunteered. Well, he didn't volunteer. He said, sure, dear, I will do that for you, even though I don't want to do that. But he did it. She's acting like he hasn't done anything. He went to the supermarket and got her chips. Granted, yes, he did forget the bean dip, but, you know, them's the breaks, I guess. And Becky says, you know, okay, so we're a little over-emotional, and we do get a little demanding. She says that's because our hormones are running wild. I mean, we're happy, we're sad, we're hot, we're cold. She said, we're huge, and all we want are Ridgy potato chips and a slice of juicy watermelon with some Swiss chocolate on the side. Is that too much to ask? I don't think so. And Jessie goes, honey, because she starts crying. It's not too much to ask. He turns away from Jessie. And all the soon-to-be mamas all, pat her on the back and like, it's okay, it's okay. Of course, Jessie goes for support with the soon-to-be daddies, and they all turn their back on him like, hey, don't put us in your tirade here. And Jessie, yes, he pulls Becky into his arms, like, and, he's patting her hair, says, sweetheart, no, it's not too much to ask. I mean, I know the babies depend on you for everything. You should be able to depend on me. And as she pulls back and says, Jess, what's wrong with me? I mean, you're so patient and understanding, and I don't deserve you. It's like, oh, no, she deserves me, doesn't she, guys? Like, oh, yeah. And Jessie's like, oh, yeah, now you want to be my friend. She says, she asks, I'm going to be normal again someday, right? And Jessie says, I hope so.
Snack time.
All right, here's a little snack. Watch out, guys, it's feeding time.
It has like 3 bowls of chips and a glass bowl of fried chicken.
You know what I just got a craving for?
KFC?
A nice slice of seedless watermelon. Doesn't that sound good?
Hey, good. This watermelon's out of season right now. I'd probably have to go to Mexico to get it.
Well, you've got a car.
Come on, Becky.
She believe this guy? She'd send me to Mexico to get her seedless watermelon. I mean, do you believe this?
Wait a minute. We shouldn't have to send them. They should be happy to go.
Yeah.
Hold it, baby boomers.
Baby boomers.
Now, going to the market and stuff like that, that's fine. I go for that. But leaving the country to get seedless watermelon because you have some kind of wacky craving, that's where I draw the line. Yeah. Right, next thing you know, she's going to want Swiss chocolate.
Ooh, that does sound good.
Yes. I'm not going to Switzerland.
Jess, you're missing the point. It's not about where you go. It's about you guys being there for us. I mean, okay, so maybe we're a little over-emotional. And maybe we do get a little demanding. But that's because our hormones are running wild. I mean, we're happy, we're sad, we're hot, we're cold, we're huge. And all we want are rigid potato chips and a nice slice of juicy watermelon with a side of Swiss chocolate. Now, is that too much to ask? I don't think so.
No, sweetheart, no. I'm sorry. It's not too much to ask. I know the babies depend on you for everything, so you should be able to depend on me. I'm sorry.
Oh, Jess, what's wrong with me? I mean, you're so patient and understanding, and I don't deserve you.
No, you do. You deserve me. She deserves me, right, guys? Yeah, now you want to be my friend.
Yeah.
I'm going to be normal again someday, right?
Well,
I hope so.
Now we go to Michelle's room, which will be DJ's room at the end of this episode. And she's got a measuring tape down the middle of it. And of course, Michelle comes in the doorway, hands on her hips, saying, "May I help you?" And DJ pulls back the tape measure and says, she retracts it and says, "Kimmy's right. There is enough room for a hot tub." I'm thinking, you would not have a hot tub indoors.